running down the far side, caught it, spun, and takes it in for 6. And the Baltimore Ravens just slice right through that Buccaneer defense to lead it 40-18. 5th career 5-touchdown passing game for Lamar Jackson. And he does it with 6.5 to play in a big one against the 4-2 Buccaneers tonight. And another great drive orchestrated by Lamar Jackson of Baltimore.
Chargers, Cardinals.
Just shy of the 5, it's 2nd and goal. Chargers with a 3-0 lead, that lead in peril. 2 receivers to the right, single wide to the left. Connor to the left of Murray in the gun. Kyler Murray gets the shotgun snap. Chargers rush 4. He throws to the right side to the goal line. It is caught by Greg Dortch for a Cardinal touchdown. Running across that goal line from left to right, gets to the right corner and snares his first touchdown catch of the year. And the Cardinals take a 6-3 lead. First down and 10 at the 44. Murray will go under center now. From the Charger 44, play action fake. Murray steps to his left. Now Murray's going to run. He's got room to the 40. Murray to the 35. Down the sideline to the 30. Across the 20 to the 10. He's going to go all the way. Kyler Murray, 44 yards, and the Cardinals take the lead. 13-9, the 44-yard scamper by Kyler Murray. On comes Cameron Dicker for a 40-yard field goal try to give the Chargers the lead. Good snap. Good hold. The kick by Dicker is good. And Los Angeles has a 15-14 lead with 1:54 to play in the 4th quarter. This will officially be a 32-yard try for the win. For the win. Good snap. Good hold. The kick is up. It is good. And the Arizona Cardinals come from behind to defeat the Los Angeles Chargers. The final score, Arizona 17, Los Angeles 15.
Chiefs.
As far as the game goes, I liked what I saw as far as just the team effort. All 3 phases contributed. We've got some things we can obviously work on both sides of the ball, special teams wise, likewise. But there were some real positives that we can take out of the game. We rushed, obviously for a lot of yards offensively, defensively. I guess a strong offense. We were able to hold them in their rush yards and hold them relatively, and likewise in the pass game with the 3 turnovers. That was big. And then special teams wise, McCool had again a nice return there. Our Ariza was really punting the ball well, field position wise. I thought was a positive.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Jake Gutierrez. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Today on the show, we'll talk to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold. We'll talk to former Chiefs wide receiver Mark Borichter, and Jeff Chadilla will tell us how disappointing the Chiefs are at 9 o'clock. Jeff Chadilla from NFL Network and NFL.com. So, look, this was, by the way, we had a great night last night at Chickies and Pete's at Bally's Casino. We had a New Day and Border Patrol reunion and utilized that as a special episode of Hot Mic with SSJ, which will be available in the next couple of days on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, wherever you download and listen to your favorite podcast. Hopefully that's one of them. So me and Nate Bukaty, who's here with us today, Jake Gutierrez, Aaron Swartz was there. It was great to see Aaron, Marco Marquez, Todd Lebo, members of our family. Had a good time last night, eating some great food, watching some football, and taking a walk down memory lane. And so that was awesome. And hopefully you get a chance to listen. I don't know if it's going to be one episode or 2 episodes, maybe one long episode. It could have been a lot longer, but we ended up with about an hour and a half or so of stories and just trying to go through everything.
Great times. It's the
Yeah,
first time I'd been down to Bally's.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, the place is great. Chicken and Pizza's awesome.
Chickies and Pizza's awesome.
So thanks for having us out there, Steve.
Thank you for showing up. I know everyone's time is it's difficult to all get on the same page.
Good time getting together.
I'm glad my dad was able to come down there and see everybody too.
It's great seeing him.
So that was awesome. But we're kind of keeping our eyes on the Monday Night Football doubleheader last night when we were doing the podcast, and you had the interesting matchup of the Ravens and Buccaneers, and then the Chargers and the Cardinals. And I'll tell you, here's in case you missed it, the Ravens were putting it on the Bucs, and the Bucs made it prettier late, but that was all Ravens last night as they had an offensive explosion. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then, as you heard in the highlights, the Cardinals beat the Chargers with a late field goal. But the most significant thing to come out of last night is the fact that you've got the Chiefs playing at the Raiders coming up on Sunday, and then the next game will be a Monday Night Football showdown at Arrowhead against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay didn't just lose the game last night. They lost their excellent starting receivers. And so that will have a direct impact on the Tampa Bay that shows up at Arrowhead Stadium in 2 weeks. And look, we all know about losing receivers, right? And so, nobody feels sorry for the Chiefs. You don't have to feel sorry for anyone else, but Hollywood Brown never made it on the field. Now, he might at the end of this year, who knows? But he never made it to the regular season. He got hurt in the preseason. And Rashee Rice, who was on his way to a Pro Bowl season, he gets hurt, and he's out for the year. Juju Smith-Schuster steps in, has 130 yards in a game. We're thinking, okay, Juju is going to get back to the guy he was a couple of years ago with the Chiefs. He injures his hamstring in the days leading up to this last game and then re-aggravates it in the game. Now he's going to be out for a little while. And so the Chiefs receivers are as thin as anyone's in the NFL. But Tampa Bay, look, Baker Mayfield is really good. But the strength of their team is when you have a 1-2 punch of receivers like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, that's an incredibly tough matchup for many NFL defenses. And, I mean, they're physical, all of it. Godwin and Evans were tied for a league-leading 5 touchdowns apiece through the first 6 weeks. That's all you need to know. These guys are tied for the lead after 6 weeks with 5 touchdowns apiece. And so and Mike Evans he'd been dealing with a hamstring issue, kind of like Juju, but then he did not have an injury designation, and I was keeping a close eye on it because I was going up against him in my one fantasy league, and last night I had like a 30-some point lead, and I was facing Mike Evans and the Tampa kicker. I won. That's one thing that came out of it. But if you saw the game, Evans ends up getting hurt. He caught a touchdown pass early in the game, but then after catching that 25-yard touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield on the opening drive in the second quarter, Mayfield threw to him again in the end zone, and it looked like he was going to catch another touchdown pass, but he couldn't hang on, and he fell to the ground and grabbed the back of his leg, writhing in pain. He was on the field for several seconds as trainers and teammates gathered around him. He was able to gingerly walk off the field, but Vice President of Sports Medicine and Performance, Bobby Slater, helped him off the field, but he limped significantly as he entered the tunnel to a standing ovation. He had missed 2 days of practice this week with the injury. And And so he practiced in a limited capacity on Friday, didn't have an injury designation, but you saw what happened then. And so, I mean, hamstring injuries, right, with wide receivers, I don't know. I wouldn't feel great about him playing this week, and they have a showdown against Atlanta for the division lead. And so in 2 weeks, will he be 100%? I don't see how. It's like Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not going to be 100% in 2 weeks. Will he play? Maybe. Will he be vintage Mike Evans? No. And so that's an impact right there. And maybe it's bad enough where he just doesn't play, and there's no Mike Evans. Okay. What do you think? Well, they still got Chris Godwin. Oh, boy. If you stayed up to watch the end of the game with 104 in regulation, Godwin catches a pass from Mayfield, gets tackled from behind by Roquan Smith, and Godwin's left ankle gets caught under Smith, and it looked bad, dislocated.
They wouldn't show the replay.
Several teammates were visibly shaken as Godwin remained on his knees and was quickly attended to by the training staff. Baker Mayfield turned away, knelt down, put his head in his hands. Mayfield said, "This absolutely sucks for our team. Chris deserves better than that. Unbelievable guy. I've got a heavy heart right now." He was helped onto an injury cart. Chants of Godwin broke out in the crowd along with a standing ovation. But, I mean, he sure as hell won't be back for the Chiefs game. Who knows when he's going to be back. But he suffers a dislocated left ankle. And so maybe there's a chance now whenever you go up against Tampa, damn, those wide receivers. Gotta take care of those wide receivers. Maybe the Chiefs don't face either one of them. They're not going to face one of them. Godwin's not going to play, and Mike Evans is going to be a big question mark. And so they play him in 2 weeks. Play the Raiders on Sunday, and then it's Tampa at Arrowhead the following Monday night. So that's a huge impact on that game. What wide receivers will suit up on Monday Night Football between the Chiefs and Bucks coming up in 2 weeks? And so that's the number one biggest takeaway. The number two biggest takeaway is the offense that was on display by Baltimore. Look, and I just love the way people just try to wish away or, explain away the Chiefs beating them already. Well, it was in week 1. So what? It happened. That's when the season started. That's when they were on the schedule. Well, they really didn't, Derrick Henry played, and the Chiefs did what they usually do with Derrick Henry. They stopped him. All right, the defense was very good, and the defense has backed that up week after week. There was no fluke. The Chiefs defense takes away your marquee running back. The Chiefs defense, with the creativity of Steve Spagnuolo, the physical dominance of Chris Jones, and oh, by the way, Turk Wharton. You got to start giving Turk Wharton his flowers, right? And now the emergence, he's always good, but he was even better this past week. George Karlaftis. You got to start giving these other guys some credit. They put pressure on the quarterback. They're excellent on third down. They're crazy good in situations on third and short or fourth and short. They're good in the red zone. They're even better in the fourth quarter. The defense is elite. The defense is terrific. And they did to Baltimore what they do to everyone else. They didn't, Baltimore didn't look good. Didn't look like themselves. Now, are they playing at a higher level? Sure they are. But guess what? The Chiefs defense is playing at a higher level than they were in week 1. And I don't want to hear that. Okay? And I know they didn't have, Derrick Henry yet, but what happened? How many points did the Ravens score in the AFC Championship game when the game was in Baltimore last year? When that's all we heard about. How did they score? Nothing. What did they score?
I'm trying to remember what
10?
17-10, right?
Okay, so
not enough to win the game.
this is, people just want to erase that evidence. Like, oh, well, if they face him again now they'll show him. No, they won't. Will it be a hell of a game? Sure it will be. Is that the team that's the most worthy competition for the Chiefs in the AFC? I think so. I'll still listen to an argument for Buffalo as long as they got Josh Allen. I don't know. That's the Chiefs' toughest game on the schedule, remaining going to Buffalo. Baltimore put it on Buffalo when they played. But I don't know. But yeah, Baltimore looks really, really good. But I have a lot of confidence when the Chiefs play Baltimore. And I know that this is the easy thing to say, but it's the true thing to say. Until Lamar Jackson does this in the postseason, does this in the playoffs, I'm just going to be like, all right, hey, regular season Lamar on his way to his third MVP. All right, that's awesome. Great regular season quarterback, not a great postseason quarterback. He's not. And you can't call him that until he does something like get to the Super Bowl. I have more fear of Josh Allen in the postseason than I do of Lamar Jackson. I have more fear of Joe Burrow in the postseason than I do of Lamar Jackson. And I'm a Lamar fan. When he was coming out, I was one of the few that thought he should have gone higher, and, you had people running around here and saying, he's not even a quarterback. Remember that? And I
they were running around,
right,
too. They were
running around saying it, like,
running around.
Yeah. And making fun of me because I like him as a quarterback, and I'd take him out over some of these guys who are going ahead of him.
Called you a simp.
Right, and I was. But I just until you show me you can do that in the postseason, why should I think you can?
You're from the show me state,
right? I mean, why? Do you guys assume isn't that where you kind of lean like, oh yeah, it's all fun and games until the postseason, and then when it's really on the line, like yes, probably this isn't going to work quite the same way.
Especially because we live in a town where we see a guy that plays great in the regular season sometimes is not so great in the regular season, and then as soon as the playoffs hit, he gets better. He takes his game, as we like to say, to a whole nother level.
Right.
But, we see that with Mahomes. If he's hurt, he plays better. It doesn't matter. When the playoffs start, he takes it up a notch. So we've seen the opposite, and with Lamar Jackson, it's been, that's what matters the most. Like, who is going to remember how many regular season MVPs you win versus how many Super Bowls you win?
It's still great. He's still
great, but it's
terrific quarterback.
Yeah.
But you make your bones in the postseason.
Yes.
And look, am I going to sit and I just I always kind of roll my eyes when people make such declarative statements. They'll never win hey, they very well could win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
I won't be surprised if Lamar and the Ravens come away with the Super Bowl one year. I think that Josh Allen at some point in his career with the Bills, unless Sean McDermott just absolutely prevents him from doing it, I think, unless Sean McDermott just absolutely roadblocks it,
Which,
I mean,
it's very possible.
It might be. But I feel like at some point we're going to see Josh Allen in Buffalo without Sean McDermott,
Yeah.
But if you asked me, hey, you're going to throw some money down on this, does Josh Allen win a championship or not? I'll say yeah.
Yeah, he's only 28 years old.
Because he's a fantastic quarterback, and he's got several years to go. And we love the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes is the best, and Andy Reid's the best, and everything, and their defense is awesome, and Spags is unbelievable. But they're not going to win it every single year because they haven't.
And they can't. It's just, you can't do it.
Yeah, and they haven't. They're going to win. I think they still got a few to go. But, I mean, there's going to be years where something happens, and they don't. Someone's got to win it. And the odds are that Josh Allen is so good, he's going to win one. I mean, you had this great debate. Who was better, Brady or Manning? And it wasn't like one of them won all the championships. The other guy won none. They both ended up winning championships. Mm-hmm. Brady won a lot more, but Manning got a couple, guys, you win championships that are elite quarterbacks that have failures in the playoffs. That sometimes looks like, man, this guy's never going to win one. Then he finally wins one. I mean, hell, look how long it took John Elway to win one.
Yep.
It took forever.
Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers got one. They got one.
When you're that good. But until you do it, there's going to be skepticism. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And again, last night I'm watching, wow, Derrick Henry. I wonder if he'd be running like this in the playoffs. I wonder if that tank will still be full. Wow, Lamar Jackson. I wonder if he'll make those throws in the playoffs because he usually doesn't. But that's all. Was that super impressive last night? Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
but I don't know. This sounds so elitist. Wake me up in the postseason. Let me know
what it is.
Yeah, let me know when you do
it
that.
It is
in the
what it is,
postseason.
man. What we're doing right now is lining up to see who are the top contenders to the champs. They put themselves in that. You watch that. You see how close the game was. You go, okay, they got to be the top contender, or at least one or two.
Very impressive. Bucks lose their receivers. Ravens make a statement. Cardinals beat the Chargers, and I don't know what the Chargers are doing. They're running around in a circle looking at each other. So
Costing me money.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ. We've got Jake Gutierrez, who's very angry at the Chargers organization for letting him down last night for obvious reasons. This guy. If ever there was a game to be left alone, it's Cardinals-Chargers, the late half of a Monday Night Football doubleheader, but of course not.
Hey, the late Derrick Henry anytime touchdown paid off.
Yeah.
So the Bucks plus 4.5 did not. We digress.
We do. Let's talk college football with Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very well. A 42-14, get a win over Houston at Arrowhead Stadium. Let's just start there. I'm quite sure that you were thrilled to get that W and get things turned around against Houston on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a very good win for us, much needed. We've been waiting to kind of put a full game together and in all three phases, and I thought we did so, and definitely something that we can build some momentum going into this week's game.
Man, I tell you something, we were talking last week, and I'll be honest with you, after we were done talking, I didn't feel great about Kobe Bryant playing. And then he had 3 interceptions. And so, I mean, that's pretty damn good performance for a guy there was a chance he wouldn't get a play.
Yeah, one thing about Kobe that I really admire about the young man is he's extremely competitive, and he loves the game. And, he's had a couple injuries in his 4 years, and every time he's battled back. I think he's missed one game maybe in his time. And even that week, he was upset with me that I wasn't going to take him on the trip, and he forced me to put him on the travel squad and he was still hoping to dress and try to do things even though he hadn't practiced. So, last week at this time, he hadn't gone through any team reps. He barely did any walkthrough things with the defensive unit, and he continually worked to get better, and actually had himself quite a game and was National Defensive Player of the Week in many outlets.
You also got Cornell Wheeler back, and I know he didn't play the full game, but it sounds like he's trending in the right direction. How significant is that for you guys defensively, especially obviously with a big weekend coming up?
Yeah, it was great to get Cornell back as well. Another guy that struggled. We didn't know even till Thursday about if we were going to be able to use him or not. He got around and was moving, didn't feel that he was still at 100% yet. And, he was kind of saying, he goes, Coach, I don't want to let anybody down like I did at West Virginia when I couldn't run late in the game. And he goes, I just don't know if I can let it loose. But he went out there, gave us about 25 snaps, ended up with an interception off a tip ball, and played extremely well, we thought. And again, he was out there yesterday, and we hope we'll have him ready to go again as well.
And then for Jalen Daniels, 16 of 21, 247, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries for 58 yards with a touchdown. Can't get much more efficient than that. That was a very good performance. Your thoughts on what you saw from your quarterback?
Yeah, I think Jalen stacked 2 really good performances back-to-back and is more comfortable and confident in what he's doing, what we're doing as an offense. And again, we'll need him at his best this weekend. But really proud of what he's been doing with the ball and where his placement, and we're creating some explosive plays. And I think our offense has felt as good as it has all year.
All right, Coach, I am going to be interviewing your running back, Devin Neal, for the Jayhawker podcast for Sports Radio 810 later this afternoon, and he's climbing up the rushing charts. He's up to number 4 all time, and I'm old enough to say that I watched all the other guys that are above him play when they were in college now. But I'm curious, when I'm going to do this interview with him, I feel like we all know his story pretty well, being a local kid and all that, but is there anything that I should ask him that we don't know? Any good stories you've got for me that maybe that stand out to you about your time with Devin Neal?
Oh boy, there's so many that I was thinking of a good Devin Neal story. The thing that I don't know if it's really much of a story is sometimes when you see interviews and little stories and glimpses of guys, you really wonder if that's their true makeup, and it truly is about Devin Neal. He's such a good young man. He's a great leader. He's passionate about this program and what he's been able to do. And, part of the thing, I think we talked about this last year, guys, was to get him to come back for his 4th year and not declare for the draft part of it was to make sure that we could get him graduated by December, that we put together a plan which we will be able to execute, or he will be able to execute, and also the ability to leave here as the best running back to ever play here in the record books, and he's knocking on the door of all that. And again, he is such a quality guy, and from the day he walked in, his passion to learn the game, be coachable, and his work ethic has definitely paid off, and he'll always be an example for any future Jayhawks that come into this program.
You know what, Coach? Look, we get it. We understand that Nate has a busier schedule than anyone else, but you don't need to do his prep work for his interviews. I mean, you let him do his own prep work. He's got time to go look this stuff up. He's like, Coach, what should I ask him? You know what? Nate, you can handle that.
This is prep work, Steven. See, this is called efficiency right here. You're doing two jobs at the same time. I'm learning because part of it, Coach, like you said, we do feel like we know the kid really well. The stories have been out there, and he's a local kid, and that leads us to the game you've got coming up, because obviously it's a rivalry game and all that. And I'm curious what it means to have a player like him on your roster when you're getting ready for a game like this.
Well, we've talked about what Devin's impact's been since, really he committed before we were hired here at KU, and from the time we met him, and to really understand the significance of the quality of player that he is, and he was coming out of high school, and the options that he had, and what it meant for this program to keep him right in Lawrence was huge at the time and still is today, and to see what he can do and these games. And we said, talk about rivalries and things like that, and I've said it all along, is that in order for games to be a true rivalry, you have to make them competitive, and I think we've inched closer to that. We haven't been able to get it over the hump, and I know our seniors are determined to try to turn the tide this weekend and get it done. We had the game. We had a lead last year and a chance to make even a bigger lead happen. We let it slip away, and Kansas State capitalized on it on the very next play and kind of took over the momentum of the game. And I know our guys are determined. I know a guy like Devin wants to find a way to end his career in this rivalry with a win.
All right, so KC's coming off their win at West Virginia. Avery Johnson, Giddens at running back. The offense is hitting. When you look at this version of K-State versus the team that you faced last year, what stands out to you?
I think it's every bit as good, if not better, in some ways. Probably where they've continued to get better is the experience they've gained with their offensive line working together now halfway through the season. The offensive weapons are as good as I've seen in the time we've played them. We talk about Avery Johnson and his talent. Giddens is a running back, maybe one of the more underrated running backs in the country, and productivity. He has great size. He's a physical runner, has deceptive speed. Dylan Edwards has been a great addition, and his ability to make people miss and create explosive plays. They use their tight ends extremely well, and again, they have explosive playmakers on the outside. And Connor Riley has done an outstanding job, I think, taking over as a play caller and mixing it up in what they're doing. So it's a big challenge. Chris has another fine team, and they do a great job, and they're very worthy of the rating that they have at this time.
Well, you mentioned that they've got quite a two-headed monster at running back themselves, and you guys have as well. But one thing we hadn't mentioned is the fact that one of your running backs, Daniel Highshaw, has been a little banged up as well. What's his status going to be like for this weekend?
Right now he's questionable at this time. He's kind of battled a few things in his career. Daniel's a little frustrated with it. He continues to work hard. I think Daniel's had a very fine year for us in a lot of different ways, and watching him grow and mature in the position has been, very fulfilling as a head coach to watch him, because he is so talented. And like you said, when he's healthy, he and Devin are a great combination in running styles and what they can give our offense.
And so when you have this, like you mentioned, it has to be competitive for it to be a rivalry, but that this game means so much to several players on your team, all of them really, but especially the local guys, and then the fan base. Like, how do you approach the week leading up to it? Is it different, or do you try your best to treat this like it's another game.
Which I think it goes without saying, Stephen. They know who the opponent is, what it is. There's enough stories and publicity around college football about rivalries and where they are across college football. So we know where it's at. The guys will make mention here and there, but I've always believed as a head coach, if you put too much stock in one game, especially with games to play, you're setting yourself up for letdowns later down the road. It is important. Would it help recruiting and everything else that we've worked to improve here? Absolutely. But at the same time, we have to make sure that, as we prepare, as we go through our process each and every week, there should be some great energy in the stadium, and we have to make sure that we handle the enthusiasm of their home crowd and weather any storms early in the game, but make sure that we're ready to play our best when our best is needed.
You referenced that game last year, Coach, and one of the things that stood out to me, in my memory is your situation at quarterback going into that game. You had Cole Ballard playing in that game, and obviously things are very different now. You've got Jalen Daniels, who's you already talked about the way he's been playing over the last couple of games, but I'm kind of curious just to take you back to the memory of it. I mean, Cole went out and played a pretty good game for you and everything. I mean, what did that say to you just about the depth you had at that position? What are some of your memories from, the challenges you faced at the quarterback position going into that game last year?
Yeah, it was difficult. We threw Cole Ballard and, he got pressed in the action, partway through the Texas Tech game the week before when Jason was injured and had to start the game, competed extremely well, learned a lot, grew a lot from that game. And Cole Ballard was a guy that gained instant respect from his teammates as a true freshman last year in the locker room. And, again, we were excited about what his future is. I kind of looked at it the other day. I was thinking, guys, our very first year here, Miles Kendrick broke his ankle in the K-State game in the first time around. Then Jason got hurt. Then Miles got hurt, and that's when we started to burn Jalen's redshirt year of that year before we went down to play Texas. And then Jalen came off injury from the 22 season. The week before, I think we played K-State. This is probably the most consistent play we've had at quarterback going into this game in our time here, is about a stability at the quarterback position. So, hopefully it'll be something that'll pay dividends for us Saturday night.
All right, it's going to be the Sunflower Showdown on Saturday night. You can listen to the game right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Pre-game starts at 5:30, and then kickoffs at 7 o'clock, and then post-game will be immediately following the game. All right, Coach, I know you're focused on this, but I just got to ask you your opinion because I know we have found out, and we've exchanged some text messages. You're a baseball guy as well as a football guy. Do you root for the Yankees or the Dodgers in the World Series? I refuse to ever root for the Yankees, so go Dodger Blue is where I'm at right now. Who do you root for in the World Series? Who's going to win it?
Right now, to me, it's like the old, just like it's like the networks got what they wanted, right? It's like one of those TV ratings will be where they need them and stuff. So I'm probably going to be a guy that's probably not going to watch a whole lot. So I'm probably like you in that. Is if anyone, I'll probably lean towards the Dodgers. But I'm a small market guy all the way.
Right. They didn't want us to have Royals and Brewers.
Yeah,
they stole it from us, Coach. They stole it from. We'll get it next year. That's fine. Hey, Coach, good luck in the game on Saturday night. We appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Have a great week. Rock Chalk.
That's Lance Leipold, who we had a text conversation going back and forth over several days about the long history of important trades that have been made between the Royals and the Brewers. So
I like the fact that he's a small market guy. He
likes
I'm with
the
him.
Brewers.
I don't care about
now
this
he likes the
Series
Royals, and we were pushing for Royals and Brewers, and then it didn't happen. But whatever.
The Royals and Brewers have helped each other win games with those trades.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I care about this World Series.
Oh, you got.
You got to stop it.
No. I want to see Garrett Dieter's heart ripped out.
You know what though? Honestly, look. Aaron Judge is not a bad guy. He's a good guy. I like him, but I love Ohtani.
Yeah, man.
And I would like to see him
And I've always been a Kershaw
win a
guy.
championship. Yeah, but he doesn't.
I know,
help
he doesn't do
things.
anything.
That's not a good thing.
Plus,
I know.
Ohtani's interpreter's got a lot of money riding on this.
I'm just saying that
but-
I started rooting for the Dodgers just because of Kershaw.
But I still, and I know Judge had a great year. But I don't think enough people have wrapped their heads around the idea that Ohtani had a 50-50 season.
Right.
He's pretty good.
That's like, for a long time, I never thought I'd see that. I've never thought I'd see that in baseball. I never thought I'd see it. Like, if you asked me, like, the things that Judge has done, it's great. But I've seen it. And I've seen things like that. You would ask me 10 years ago, you think a guy will ever go 50-50? Like, nah, I don't. No. And he did, and he does. And so and I like the only true way that I can root for the Dodgers is I know my grandfather, Danny Ontiveros, loved Fernando Valenzuela. And when Fernando Valenzuela, when Fernando Mania was in full force, we were buying cards. We had the Fleer card that said Fernando Valenzuela, worth a little extra. He had a T-shirt. I remember us giving him shirts for his birthday, and he loved it. He'd watch his. I mean, so at least I can navigate my way through that, and then also root against Gary Dieter, which is important for our purposes.
Oh man, he's gonna be unbearable for you guys if they win.
We've already got. Yeah, I feel like we already got through the worst of it. We'll see.
This guy's getting invited on podcasts now.
I think the Dodgers are going to win. Honestly.
Yeah, they're a better team.
I hope they do. Let's take a break. Back after this on WHB. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ. All right, today, pretty much right after the show, I'll be heading over to Westport Flea Market, and I will be the guest speaker at the Tiger Club of Kansas City. I've spoke there many times, and today, I'm glad I'm going there. I'm glad I wasn't booked like the Tuesday after the A&M loss. That would have sucked. Instead, I'm booked the Tuesday after the Brady Cook game and leading into the big game on Saturday, Mizzou at Alabama, 2:30 on ABC. So there'd be some good feelings and good vibes. And then we'll talk about the Chiefs beating the 49ers, the Royals, and the season they had. So if you remember the Tiger Club, come on! Come on. We'll have fun. You know, throw a little money in there, you get a little buffet lunch. Buffet starts at 11:30. That's good. That's old school. I like that.
Yeah.
I like getting up and speaking to people as they enjoy a buffet lunch. And Westport Flea Market's always a great host. And so I'm going to head down there. The buffet starts at 11:30, and then the program begins around noon. And I'll be the guest speaker, and usually they have a coach or someone from the athletic department on the phone, on speakerphone. So I'll get up there, give my spiel for about 5 minutes or so, but then I like just to open it up for questions. Ask questions for 45 minutes. Let's go. So
You got a lot of answers.
Tiger Club of Kansas City today. And I'll get down there around 11:30-ish. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm excited about the Mizzou-Alabama game. I don't know what's going to happen. What's the line at now? Jake, are we looking at this one? Do you have any thoughts on this? This Brady Cook win, how this perhaps has propelled Mizzou and galvanized the team?
Bama minus 13.5. I think I'd take Missouri in the points. It's going to be a closer game than that.
What's KUK State?
10, Kansas State.
How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know if I want to touch that.
Well, I know, but how do you feel about it? What do you think?
I mean, it seems fair, you know, considering the way the seasons have gone for both sides so far. Home game for K-State.
I'm surprised not a little more.
All right, the Sunflower Showdown.
I mean, like 12, 13, or what?
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
What chance do you give Kansas of actually winning?
Like percentage?
Yeah. I mean, you think, like, no chance. You know what? They got a shot.
I think they've got a shot.
All right, the
You know, I
Sunflower
think they
Showdown.
got a shot. I
Because
think
you, like,
they're-
you know, there's
they're-
years
they're-
like you going like,
yeah.
there's no chance
Yeah.
they can win.
I think they have a chance.
Jake, be honest.
15%, 20%?
Well, that's specific.
That's, you know.
I mean, I hope they go in with a little bit of confidence because they played, you know, they played obviously very well last weekend, and the offense has played pretty well 2 weeks in a row. And
They needed to get a win, and they got
yeah,
it.
so a little confidence, and hopefully they go in with hey, nobody believes in us, nobody thinks we can do it but us, which is probably true. You know, circle the wagons a little bit. But K-State's really good, and they're playing really well. And they're at home. And when does K-State, like, not show up for the KU game?
No, they always do.
Yeah, and they play tough at home. I think that's the biggest. Going on the road and trying to beat them in their house is tough. Really tough. 20% might be a little high.
I was going to say, you were. Stick with it.
10 to
Lean-
15, I
Lean into it.
Kansas State, 85% chance they win this game. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. It's a rivalry.
If you had to bet on one team to win outright money line, would you pick Missouri at Alabama or Kansas at Kansas State?
Oh, Missouri at Bama.
You pick Missouri?
Yeah, I think I would.
I mean, the lines aren't that far off, 13.5, 10, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that Missouri game is going to be closer than the Kansas State game.
Don't be afraid to speak the truth. Me hemming and hawing over there.
I'm nothing but hemming and haw right now. Hem, haw.
Tread lightly, son.
You know, we have some open segments coming up for
no.
you. What do you mean? Oh no! What's that supposed to
The
mean?
look on your face
No.
means
Yeah,
oh no.
he folds the arms.
No, there are things we need to revisit.
Is there?
Yeah.
Are there?
Why do you think it's bad?
Because of the look on your
I was
face.
going to allow
just-
you to revisit. We're going to revisit Aaron Rodgers and the Jets
Okay.
to see how that thing's going. See, now Jake's like, all right.
Oh, yeah, I like
Only week 8.
That's what they're afraid of.
Only week 8.
Only week 8.
It can get way worse from here.
Play 18 weeks.
You talk about the Chiefs.
That's right. Got some Andy Reid sound from yesterday.
Andy Reid, Dandy Reid. We're getting thin on wide receivers, everybody. And let me tell you, Tampa's trying to win a division, and so add another team. Like going into last night, Tampa was not in the wide receiver market.
Right.
This morning, let me tell you something. Tampa is in the wide receiver market.
They're at the top of the market.
After losing Godwin probably for the year and Evans to a hamstring injury, who knows how long. So Chiefs need to figure that out if they're going to do something or just go with what they got.
Make your move.
Make your move. It won't be MVS because he's signed with the Saints.
Well,
That saddens people. But that ain't happening. We'll take a break back after this on WHB.
at SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated. HLAC certified to the highest medical laundry standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tom Pelissero is reporting that the Browns are signing Bailey Zappi off the Chiefs practice squad with Deshaun